Thank you very much for everybody joining us today. And I've been informed that I have to inform everybody that because this is going out on Facebook Live, that it would automatically be recorded. So if you don't want to be on here because it is being recorded, then could you leave now, please? Hope no one leaves, but I have to say that. GDPR.
I'll stay.
Yes, so am I. Okay. Welcome and thank you very much for everybody's time for everybody to come on today. Now, today we've got Jewson's, and I've been kind of emailing out and putting on social media that there is a new process on the way that LNPG will be working, one with Jewson's, but also how do members get their kind of products, because I'm going to come back to products in a minute and pricing, because I don't want to sugarcoat this, because there have been issues, Luke. Yeah. So
Sure.
Firstly, before I go into that, one of the things that you were saying to me is what you did in COVID-19, yeah, and about your suppliers, which has put you in very good stead. So if you'd like to introduce yourself, but also who you report to, who's new, we're going to come under that new regime inside Jewson's. So
Yeah,
far away,
okay.
Luke.
So thanks, Nick. My name is Luke Baker. I'm the regional manager for Jewson Partnership Solutions. I cover the south, so the south of the country. My counterpart, a chap called Paul, covers northern Scotland, and between us we report into the MD of Jewson Partnership Solutions. So JPS is a part of Jewson's that was previously, we were a Saint-Gobain part of the business, so we were slightly separate to Jewson. We concentrated solely on public sector housing associations and councils and that sort of stuff. To help us with our identity a little bit, we rebranded to JPS, and we report directly into the MD of Jewson now. That helps a massive amount in terms of how we deal operationally and the line of sight that we have with branches. So in terms of my remit, I have about 7 people that report into me that are account managers. So Leanne Hardy is one of those. And we cover obviously across the south of the country. And we have lots and lots of different types of accounts, which cover mainly your sort of retail social landlords. So we've got housing associations, councils, a few schools in there, HMRC, prisons, all that kind of stuff. And this recently then we've expanded out to contractors and people like MEAs and larger contractors like that cover the country as well. But an account like yours, Nick, as we've discussed before, is unique, and we don't have another customer like you. So it's been a learning curve, and we're still on that curve, I think, in terms of learning how best to look after you.
Yeah, and that's really good. But I'm dying to get into the question I've got written down. Yes.
Yeah. Before you go, Nick.
Yeah.
Before you go. Just thought I'd mention. Luke mentioned Leanne Hardy there, the account manager for LNPG. She's on the call as well. Leanne, if you want to
say hi,
introduce yourself.
Hello everybody, I'm Leanne Hardy. I am the account manager for LNPG, reporting directly to Luke Baker.
Brilliant, thank you very much. She wasn't looking forward to this. Yeah, great. So, Luke, what did you do when COVID-19 and your branches all closed down? Yes, and what are you doing now to open? Straight to the point.
Yeah, no problem. So I would say that the first thing off the bat, there was a massive amount of uncertainty to start off with. Before we had the official lockdown notice, there was a huge amount of uncertainty about what was happening. And so we put a few things in place in terms of being able to work digitally and downloading tools to be able to do that. But then in terms of branches, initially, I think Jewson felt like they would be able to continue trading throughout the pandemic in the initial stages. And then I would say within the first week, it was very, very apparent that we wouldn't be able to do that. Sales dropped by about 90%. So that had a massive impact on us. And so we quickly, furloughed a large percentage of the workforce. So it was across Jewson, 80% furloughed pretty much overnight. And then there was a few more after that in subsequent weeks. And and so there was, we'd not faced something like this before. So it was sort of lots and lots of communication around how do we communicate out to our customers to let them know what's going on. Lots of communication between branches and the area managers, sort of talking about which branches are going to stay open and how we best do that. But crucially, one of the things we did, which wasn't necessarily done by everybody, was that we made sure that the people in the key parts of the business, i.e. the people paying the bills, and the people looking after key parts in terms of pricing and that sort of stuff, were kept in the business and working from home and set up in that way. So it meant that all suppliers got paid on time, which didn't necessarily happen everywhere else. And it's just the way things go sometimes in terms of people furloughed, and makes certain jobs much more difficult. But that was very important to make sure we did that. And the other aspect that we had is that our head office is in France. And so they were a couple of weeks ahead of us in terms of the pandemic and in terms of action that they'd taken. So there was quite a bit of learning that came out of that in terms of what we would be facing and what we'd need to do. And of course, since then, it's been a journey of slowly starting to reopen branches. So now we're in a situation where over 90% of branches are open again. We're getting to the point where they're all open again, but obviously with social distancing measures in place. So no branch managers were furloughed. Every single branch manager remained in place and spent time sourcing materials to put up the plastic sheeting and dots on the floor and all that sort of stuff, so that we could service our customers in the norm, as much as normal as we could, as quickly as possible. And I would say your account base covers the whole country, so you've got some excellent examples of where that's really working. So definitely just sort of down the south coast. But if you're here in Wales with me, we're still effectively locked down, and branches, although open, are much, much more restricted than some in England. So there's a sort of mixed bag across the country in terms of what's happening right now.
Great. Okay. Thank you for that insight into what's going on. So are you now open across the country?
Yes.
Okay. Are members allowed to go into them stores?
Yes and no. Yes, in the main. There will be the odd branch here and there that is either still closed, although they're becoming less and less now. We're pretty much back up to 100%, but there are the odd branches still closed, and there's the odd branch where the size of the size of the actual retail space is so small that extra measures have been put in place, and it stops that. You stop, if you've got a corner shop and you've got one person's allowed in at a time, and you need to service 100 customers a day, you have to plan that. You can't just have people turn up.
No, of course.
So there's a few branches like that.
Okay.
But there's I don't know what the percentage is. There's a huge amount of branches of area managers that I talk to where you can just turn up and go and get what you need. You just take your chances. You might have to queue for an hour, or you might get in straight away. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Now I want to cut back to the real reason for this, why I've been pushing to do the webinar and Zoom meeting with you. Okay. What I want to do is that pricing and service, I want to try to keep them separate, but they do join at the hip.
Sure.
And I want to try to explain why people are saying, well, hold on here, that price is way out. Yes. Now, we have a framework. So we have what we call a basket of goods that we've selected with us and you and Leanne, the old lot, into this basket. And that is what we call fixed pricing.
Yeah.
And we get notified if it's normally once a year, we get a price increase. And it was in February, I think, wasn't it, Leanne, last time? Yeah, it was in February. And we sign off on it. But what happens is, like councils, they have that basket of goods, so they lock the account down. So the branch can't go, I don't like that price because I'm losing 9% or 4% or whatever amount of money that on their computer. Yep. So that gets locked down. What's happening is that outside the framework, because your team and us thought that the branch would understand that that's the only part of the pricing matrix locked down. They could change the other the price, but they didn't. And I had a case today. He said, that account's locked down, but on over here, I can change that price. So that's been the massive learning curve for us, that we didn't realise that the branches, and because they haven't got an account like this anywhere else in the marketplace, it's unique. We don't need couple of thousand products like the housing association. I need 100,000 products. Because him over there wants this, that person wants that. Oh, this needs a bit of hardboard, a bit of hardwood, and I need this trap, I need this, and I need, and it becomes a nightmare. So we have been working with Luke and Hannah. And Hannah, I'm sorry to say this, but you've been crawling round in a circle. I was going to be rude there, because it's been hard work. There's been so many queries coming in. Well, what's that? And then suddenly we're just downward spiral.
Well, there's a lot to say. There's a lot to say when it comes to pricing. I think the most important thing to start with, and if you members don't remember anything else from this call apart from this, which is, we want to give you the best pricing. We want to support you with what you're doing. I'm new to this account, as you know, for your members. So the structural check, and so I'm new to this account, and obviously it's been a very steep learning curve for me, which I've gone as quickly as I possibly can in order to kind of understand where you're coming from. I've listened to lots and lots of issues and bits and pieces from Leanne yourself and others, so I feel like I've got a quite good understanding now. So we are committed to getting this right, and we haven't got it right. So it's not right. It's not the finished article. It's slightly broken, if I dare to say it like that. Leanne's brilliant, and she works very, very hard at getting it right, but we're not quite there yet. There's things that we need to put in place that will help, and then I think it's like any journey. We put it in place, and then we see what leaks, and then we fix that, and then we see what leaks, and then we fix that, and we just keep going until we get it right. And I think getting it right is us always being both proactive in terms of managing a term of prices that you mentioned, which we're doing. So we'll come back to that. And reactive to say, if a member goes into a branch and there's an issue around pricing, that we're quick to react to that one isolated incident to say, this is why, this is what we can do. This is ultimately, we're going to make sure you get the best price on the day, number one. And number two, what do we need to do in the background to fix this? But also, so it's about the proactive and reactive part of looking after the price file. But it's for me, it's just that commitment that we're going to get it right. And I absolutely know that it's not right at the minute. I think I don't know if this helps, but just to explain why you get some of these issues, because you could be forgiven for thinking that surely we can just set a bunch of prices that that's the best price across the country and then off you go. And unfortunately, it's not quite that simple. I wish it was. I've come from a financial sales and a procurement background, and I've worked a lot with SMEs and saving money in terms of procurement options that they have with various things. And so I love what you're doing around bringing people together and collaborating and saving money and all that kind of stuff. I think it's brilliant, and I'm absolutely 100% behind it. And we've got a few models in Jewson. And the reason that the public sector, the reason that JPS was set up was that if you have a council or a housing association, let's say in Reading, and they go to a branch in Reading and they say, we want to buy some stuff from you, and they go, they say to them, here's some prices, and they go, fantastic, like they're really good prices, and we go and buy from that branch. Then they go to a different branch. It's not set, those prices don't carry across. So the public sector was set up in order to make sure that prices were set up across all branches that public sector organisation was going to deal with. Because up to that point, we'd not really had that. We'd had people would have a local branch and they'd always go to that branch. So we set up this term pricing, which meant that no matter where you went, and that was the selling point, no matter where you go, you'll always get that best possible price. But it was set up in a way to say the council are going to buy 1,500 products in a year, and they're always going to buy those 1,500 products, and they're going to buy so many of each one. So we can put a thing together to say, okay, we'll make sure that that overall basket is a really good price. Now, it might mean that one particular item is a really, really low margin for us, and it might mean that another is slightly higher. But overall, the balance of all of that is you get a decent price, you get a decent spend, and you can budget, and it's fixed for a year and all that stuff. The problem that we've got with you guys, or the challenge, and the one that I'm happily taking on, because it's not a problem, forgive me, it's a challenge, is that the way that the branch is set up, and rightly so, they've got local buying power. So you can have a product, and we have it with a big organization called Mears, who buy through us and spend a lot of money through us. You have a product that's set on their term. It's a negative 20% margin with a branch in the south, and it's a positive 10% margin with a branch in the north. And that's just the nature of our business. We have to take that on the chin because we've committed to giving fixed term pricing, and that's how it works. But of course, that throws up an issue when you're setting a price, because you're looking at a national average. So you say, okay, the national average will set this price in, and so you'll have a member that will walk into a branch, and that particular branch can do it a bit cheaper. So the point is that how do we make sure we capture both? How do we capture the best national price and then also the best local price? And that's the challenge. That's the bit that we're working on, because there are ways to do that. And to be honest, there's a number of different ways to do that. We could release some of the term to each individual branch, and there's, every time I suggest something, I think, well, actually there's a downside to that. I mean, some members might pay more, and I prefer not to do that. I prefer to deal with issues as they come up, rather than just put in a carte blanche solution that actually means that the guy or person rather in the north or the south or wherever they are in the country now pays a little bit more because of something we've done to try and help someone in a different part of the country. So it's a challenge. Does that make sense?
I need to stop you a sec. Anthony, I just got a text saying that on Facebook Live that it's coming up with an error.
Yeah, I've seen it. I'm just looking at that now.
Okay, fine. Okay. Sorry, Luke.
No, it's okay. I was kind of starting to ramble, so I thought I'd better just check in and make sure that that makes sense what I'm saying.
Okay, all right. Paul, did you say that you were watching it? Nod your head on Facebook Live. Okay, fine. All right, brilliant.
Oh, there we are. Okay. So yeah, it was really important to me that your members understood that when they walk into a branch and the branch manager says, I can actually make that a bit cheaper, we want them to do that. We want them to do that because there'll be management specials, there'll be excess stock, there'll be all kinds of reasons why they might be able to sell that for cheaper. It might be a local supply to them that they can get that product cheaper. And so we don't want them to say, oh no, it's LNPG price, we're going to stick to this price that's set nationally, because actually your members will definitely benefit from the local pricing. What we don't want them to do is say, well, that's a really low margin, I'm not selling it for that, because I always sell that, bag of whatever to 10 quid. So I'm not selling it for 6. And so we don't want that. So which is trying to get the best of both worlds, which, isn't straightforward, but there's definitely ways that we can do it. I think one of the big things for me about getting this right is that it's a journey between both of us. It's us working together, and I'm committed to that partnership in terms of, and I've said this to you a number of times, that I want to hear about all the issues. I want to hear which accounts you're talking about, where they're going, what the issues are, because that then gives me the tools I need to be able to look at, okay, where's this breaking down, and how can we fix that? And if it's an issue in one place, well, let's look at it. But actually, if it's an issue in 15 different places, then it's a much bigger issue, and we need to jump on that a little bit quicker. So it's working with you to get a real understanding of where these issues are, so we can try and fix it.
Okay, good. So I've heard all that, but members, how will they know whether they're getting a great price? Because you have a million products, yes? So one of the things that I know, and I want you to tell them, because I know what's coming, yes? So what Luke is going to be doing is, and this won't be launched until beginning of July, am I correct?
Yeah, that's what we're aiming for.
What
I'll come on to it.
Is that for quotes and getting pricing, we are going to feed into a contract branch. Is that what we call it? It's a contract branch that look after councils.
Yeah.
So we will feed in. So phone calls, emails. If you've got time, email it in, and we're going to try to put within so many hours, they will turn that around or give you a phone call or whatever to get that price to you.
Yeah, I think that the main point for us was that the issues that you're talking about, it felt like one of the first things that we can do and do quite quickly is put in additional support. So one of the structural changes that I mentioned before, one of the benefits of that is that we've got direct line of sight into contract branches, the JPS branches. Now these people are in front of a terminal all day, every day. So they are the best people to be able to call on to help with queries and pricing and quoting and pricing being overridden and all that sort of stuff. Now Leanne has done an amazing job, really, considering before lockdown she'd be in the car and get a phone call to say, can you do this, and she'd stop and log on and do all that sort of stuff. Actually that's not particularly practical, but also more importantly, it's not scalable. So as soon as you have more people asking for that, which I want, we don't have a way of making that scalable. So if we feed it into a branch and we say, to 2 or 3 members of staff, when that phone rings, I want you to answer, this is what you're going to get, this is what you need to do, here's the mailbox that I want you to monitor, this is, and Leanne will do a lot of this in terms of educating. If we get to the point where we're inundated with telephone calls, that's a good business case for me to say, well, let's bring someone else in then. There's no rules in terms of what we can and can't do. If there's demand there, then we'll support it. So I think it just starts that journey well. It starts a process that says, actually, you get through to someone that can actually help. Functionality wise, they will have the ability to do quotes, override pricing. They'll even have the ability to be able to do a quote and then transfer it to a branch, so that it takes out the issue perhaps the member might have if they go into a branch and they say, I can't do that, or I can, or whatever, and they phone the number and they get the information, and then they go into the branch and relay it and it's not agreed, or so just to take away any issue that might present, there's a way of us just literally transferring that quote to the branch. It's picked up by the incoming branch, and then the item can be collected by the member. So relatively smooth process.
The branch that I'm on the phone to, the contract branch, will be able to send that across, so the member just walks in, says, there's a quote here for me, give their name, their account number, and that quote will be on that branch system.
Yes, there's a way of doing that. Yeah.
We will provide them with the quote number and everything, so they've got everything ready to go.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Don't forget, I've got 4,500 people behind me, members. Good luck.
Yeah. Well, as I said, if we need to recruit.
If you get this right, it's coming your way.
Yes, brilliant. That's what we want. Nick. Look, if we have to recruit, well, we'll come and talk to you about helping us with that, because you'll be leading it. You'll be the one fueling it. No, as in you'll maybe I'll talk to Anthony then.
Upset the world. Yeah. Sorry. I have enough arguments with my members. I don't want to add to that.
No, we welcome that. Nick. That'd be brilliant.
Okay. And just to let people know, we're doing about 1.2 million. This account should be 3-4 million. That's what we should be doing. I know what I was spending when I was doing refurbs, but what people say is, oh, I can get that locally. I can get that from XYZ. I don't want to say name. Yeah.
No, and that's completely understandable, and we have that within other contracts as well, where I'll get an email and it'll be a Google search and it'll say you're selling this to us for 30 quid, and I've looked online and it's 20 quid, and you're always going to have that. There's no way that we're going to get rid of that because of the way other companies buy, or it's a specific product. So if it was I don't know, say a specialist electrical product, we might sell it, but it might not be the best price because you'll have electrical wholesale that buy 100,000 of them and can give you a better price. Or you've got Screwfix that buy 10,000 of a particular item and don't sell it, and then they just put it on offer. So you're always going to get that. But what I would really encourage people to do is use as much as possible. If they spot an error or they spot something that's obvious in terms of price, to raise it so we can do something about it. Because the more spend that goes through, the better the pricing can get. And that's the real key about any kind of collaboration. And, you know, with my procurement days, it was the number one thing, that the more people that come together to use it, the better that service gets. So it only gets better when people use it. And so we need to have that open dialogue to say, well, I want to, but you're making it difficult for me because it's this, that, and the other, and we'll address those issues.
I don't think you can have any problems with members raising pricing issues and that sort of thing. Like,
Leanne's going, oh my God.
Yeah. And it's a really good point. It's actually a really good point, isn't it, that we have to do that in the right way, because there's only one Leanne. She's got 20 accounts to look after. And I dare to say you're one of the more important ones, but she's got other people that need her and need her attention and time and all that sort of stuff. So we need to do that in the right way, and we can talk about that. But it doesn't take away from the fact that we need to collate that information and we need to address it. And that's the only way this is going to get better, is if we know what's going on.
Anthony, there's a couple of questions. Could you read them out?
Yeah, I was thinking that sounds like a very good segue. We're talking about members' opinions. So we got a whole 7 minutes before multi-finish came up on the webinar.
That didn't take long.
Yeah.
So obviously, with everything that's been going on, you know, we've been as honest as we can with members about the supply issues that's been happening with multi-finish. Now,
yeah,
there's still hundreds of members out there, as well as, you know, thousands of other individuals outside of LNPG that are still in need of multi-finish plaster. So
yeah.
Can you sort of tell us a little bit about that and what the availability is, please?
The horrendous journey that we've been on with multi-finish. So we had really good conversations with suppliers, as talking about before, about we made sure that we paid them on time, and we've kept a really good dialogue. So in terms of ongoing, suppliers is generally really, really good. Having said all that, there's always going to be an issue somewhere, and kitchens and multi-finish were the two. And you don't really touch us for kitchens, but those are the two that really.
Excuse me. No, we do not. Don't you dare use that word on here.
And it's actually one of our best kept secrets, but we'll leave that one alone for tonight. Yes. The multi-finish was one of those. It was those two things that we really had an issue on in terms of supply, and that was, multi-finish, the factory closed down, and I think I'm partly to blame, if I can dare to say it as bluntly as that, because the factory closed down, and it was closed down for about 3 or 4 weeks, and then they said, oh, we're going to open it back up again, but we want to reduce capacity. It's about a third or a quarter of the lines that are normally open, but we're going to open up. We're open to orders. Let us know what you need. And so I was quick to share that with you. And of course, British Jewson were absolutely inundated with requests, and then shut their order books again for the next 3 weeks. So it was just a bit of a nightmare in terms of getting that. So we were massively restricted in terms of what we took in. And one of the things that really, I think, caused us the most pain is that there was lots of alternatives that came up. But the quality was just shoddy, and there was lots of stuff coming in from Turkey, which, is now reported to be falling off the walls. And we're a company that doesn't do risk. We would not do that. We wouldn't bring in a different product to fill a shelf if we haven't got the opportunity to really test it out. And so as a result of that, we were just having like 10% of what we would normally get into the network. And some areas did very, very well in terms of bringing in pallets. So if you were down into the Bristol or the sort of top southwest, I think you'd have probably got hold of what you needed. But if you're around the Coventry or Birmingham area, you had no chance. So we're sort of heavily densely populated areas, really, really struggled. And we're still not out of the woods. So there's been a huge amount of learning around what we do in terms of our own supply. Because if you look at everywhere else in terms of our supply chain. It's really, really healthy, and we've got really, everything's very strong. But multi-finish and as I say, kitchens was the two that really hit us. And so there's been quite a lot of work done with category now, looking at how we make sure that doesn't happen again. So we were so reliant on immediate supply from manufacturer that there wasn't a contingency in place. And obviously I added to the problem, because I said, hey, guess what? You can get it, and just go on the website. And then it was
me.
Yeah, so that was my fault, and I apologize. It was the best intentions, but and I was passing on information that I got, and I passed it on quickly, and it was too quickly, and it was actually, the website wasn't up to where it needs to be. And so the website's changed now, but
yeah, because of time, because otherwise I don't want to do a 2-hour meeting.
Yeah.
Luke, is that
sure?
Has that eased? Can we get multi-finish now?
So it's not eased completely, no. It is better in lots of areas, but it's still not eased, because and for your members, you can go onto the British Gypsum website, and it will give you the statement that is released by the MD, say what's happened. They're saying that they feel like they're in a situation where they're going to be back to normal by the end of this month, by the end of June. I would say my experience tells me that means it's probably mid-July. So I would say by mid-July we should be back to normal.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. So Anthony, some more questions, please.
So next question: can we log into the Jewson's website and find prices like members can with Wolseley, for instance?
So yes is the answer to that. So when you sign up at the website and you put your account in, it is linked to the LNPG pricing. That's done manually, so that's done by someone in the marketing department, because obviously they're checking to make sure that you are the person you're saying you are when you're logging on. So it's just a checking process there.
Look, what happens there is, again, and it's on social media. What happens is that if it's outside terms, it goes to the higher price. And then I've got pictures of LNPG price on the internet against another price for the same bit material.
Yes, yeah. So you're talking about if you're not logged in and you go onto the same product, it's cheaper than.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that makes me, and rightly so, the members then coming at me and going, Nick, what? That's not good. And I go, no, it's not.
No, but it's and it's again, it's one of those things. It's incredibly frustrating for us, because so the website's not completely there yet. It was launched a few weeks. How long was it? A month ago now, and it's almost there in terms of pricing. What they've done is they've changed the pricing structure behind all of the terms across the whole country. So the public sector was supposed to be set apart from that, but it wasn't. It affected some of ours as well. And so without going into too much detail, instead of there just being one backdrop term for everybody that ever signs up to a Jewson account, there's now 3, and that fills slots that were taken by other backdrop terms. And then on top of that, there's a whole new way of them calculating pricing for online purchases, which we weren't made aware of before it went online. So it's all live, and now we find out about it afterwards. So again, I've written it down because it's reminded me I need to speak to marketing tomorrow about it, because we're just trying to figure out how we fix that, because essentially it should be quite an easy fix that you go online and the LNPG terms picked up. But if it's a cheaper price, then it's picked up by the website pricing. It should be straightforward. But.
And again, members that are going to watch this, and there's going to be loads, and people are watching it live now, I don't want to sugarcoat this. If I'm online, I'm a member of LNPG, I go on and I go,
best price
online, and outside LNP is cheaper. I would not be happy. So look, that fixed now, not tomorrow, because what happens is you're not taking that phone call telling the member, saying, oh, sorry, they got that wrong, we need to give them a bit.
Yes.
I can understand about the branch. Yeah, I can understand that. But online, I would rather it close it down to our LNPG members, because otherwise we get hit with the phone call and I'm sitting there going, and you can only say sorry so many times before somebody loses faith with Jewson's and then me.
Yeah,
And
yeah, no, I get you.
I represent the landlords, and I'm sorry to push this. You close the website down for LNPG members until you can prove to me that you can get that right. It's closed.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't have LNPG members going onto a site, that's just totally wrong. I am sorry to pick on you on this, but
That's what I'm here for. It's fine.
Just suddenly get really hit. So
yeah. I think just to answer that question, so just to answer that point, is that it's not as straightforward as just switching it off for members. So if we could do that, I would, but it's not that straightforward.
Right.
I don't know what the fix is. That's the crucial bit with the website, is it's all new. It's the insight pricing behind. Insight is an internal term. It's all new to me. So I've been working with Leanne trying to work out how we make sure you get best prices. And I've got
here, Sam says, leave the guy alone. Yeah, new to this. I do apologise, Sam, but it's so frustrating for me as well. And
I'm used to it, Sam. Don't worry.
These guys, and Luke is like a breath of fresh air that he really wants to. But it's from my point of view. I've been working with these guys now a year, and it's the first time I've really got the confidence that we're going to move this forward. Yeah, and I am so delighted that you've come in, Luke.
Listen, we're working on it. It's really important to me to get this right. So leave that one with me. Let me come back with a bit more information and a bit more robust information, because I'm sure they don't want to hear me pad about it. We're trying to fix it. Let me come back with something that's really robust, and then I can update you.
All right, thank you. So going back into the branch, so let's say that we're in July. How do we then lay that out? Do we just give a telephone number, an email? Are you going to work on the whole process behind the scenes to take that forward?
Yes, so Leanne's been doing some work around a process map to send out to your members, so they've got a very clear idea. In an ideal world, we want your members to be able to go into a Jewson branch and say, here's my account number, I'm an LNPG customer, and the branch know what they're doing. And so there's also a bit of work with, we've talked about it, a bit of work around when new members sign up, looking at where those are, because we have an internal training system called Boost, which all employees have access to. And we put together a training package for any branch that has a public sector account. And this is actually aimed for, you sign up your local council. What does it look like when the operative comes in, and what do you need to do, and how is it different? But actually that perfectly fits your type of account as well. So we'll put that Boost module in place for that branch to do. So I feel that's probably not something we're going to do in July, but that's definitely where we're going to get to in terms of being quite proactive. But so until we've got this kind of very proactive way of looking at it, so that we look at heat maps of where your people are signing up, and then put these things in place. We need to have somebody who knows the account that you can phone up and say, I need this, and I need to go to here, and need to collect it. So that's what that's for. As I say, Leanne puts the process map together, so it'll give you the numbers and the mail. Actually, the mailbox is already in place. It will just be added on to the people in the branch for them to access. What the technical term is, it'll be accessible for them in branch. So your members will just email the same mailbox they've been emailing already, which at the moment is picked up by Leanne in the main, a little bit of Stuart, but Stuart's good doing about 4 jobs, so it's been very difficult for him to keep on top of him. So Leanne's been picking up that, but that mailbox will then be put into the branch, and the branch will monitor it. So that will be very straightforward.
Brilliant. Okay. So on the pricing, when a member sees a pricing completely wrong, what's going to be their course of action? I know the answer to that. Can you explain?
Well, they pick up the phone to you, don't they?
Yes, but no more.
Yeah.
No more.
There's a few different ways that I would say the process for that. There's a few different ways to approach it. So you've got your admin office that they can pick up the phone to, and your guys can collate, because you may have similar kind of issues, so they can collate that.
Yeah.
you know, what I want to get away from really is Leanne being a point of contact for individual items like that, because in order to make the account better and to get on top of these and really be where we want to be, which is really proactive and on top of these things before they come up, Leanne needs to be able to do that kind of a bit where she steps back and looks at the whole account and is able to spot issues before they come up, and she needs time to do that. So you know, the branch, having the contact in the branch, I think is going to be our preferred choice for people picking up the call, saying, picking up the phone, saying, I've got this issue, I've gone into this branch, they've charged me this, or you know, I've said I'm an LNPG customer and they've told me they don't know what I'm talking about. So all of those types of queries, we really need that to feed into the branch, so that the branch have got all the resources to hand to be able to do that. So there's a few bits of setup that we need to do to make sure the branch have got everything. We don't want to say to members, start phoning them tomorrow, because actually they need access to every branch in the country, and that's never been done before. So telling IT to do that, it takes a bit of persuasion to say that is definitely what I want, please. So we need to set them up so they've got access for everyone. They need certain permissions on the system to be able to override prices. So that just takes a bit of time setting up, not to mention the mailbox being set across as well. So there's a few bits set up.
That's the part I'm really excited. And as a short fix though, Leanne's going to put something on, Leanne, you're going to put something on someone's account?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
On the account, so that when they go in,
yes, a sales message for the branch, yeah. So they're fully aware of the process. They know exactly how to price if there's something out of the term. They know if they've got any issues, they've got my details, they can contact me. If they can't override something, if they've got a better buying power locally and they can reduce that price, then they just need to let me know and I can override that. We'll always do the best price for LNPG members. So if the price is out, then yes, please raise it, because we will sort it.
brilliant.
Yeah. So to be really, really clear, there's some really, I think, it will really change the shape of the service in terms of the changes we're making. That's just going to take a couple of weeks for us to get in place. As soon as we can go live, we'll go live. In the interim, Leanne will still do what she's been doing in terms of going into tickets and changing them. She's at home at the minute. She's working from home, so that's possible. And then obviously once we've got it set up in the branch, we'll start migrating everything across.
Yeah, one thing I will say is a couple of members coming back at me and saying, Nick, look, leave him alone. I knew this, and I've had to keep my mouth shut for about 5 days. Yes, because we had a chat last week. Yes, about this. And one of the things was I've been dying to go on social media and go, and I couldn't. Okay, so it's a bit of frustration for me. I knew the improvements that are coming, which I think will dramatically change the experience of LNPG members, going into a branch, which I am so excited about. And I just wish I did this a year ago. But we have a commitment now from yourselves and your senior directors, to sign this off, and it's been signed off, I take it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So from my point of view, there are going to be teething problems over the next couple of weeks, but the messages are going on everybody's account, so that will flag up at the branch if there's any issues. You've got the portal. You've got us to back you up if there's main issues, and then we'll get hold of Leanne and put the name up at head office, who does the pricing as well for us. What's his name? Stuart. Yeah. Sorry, I've never spoken to the guy. Yeah, I have. I've seen him twice. So no, I'm over the moon. I really am impressed with the level of commitment that you two have shown, and to put this right. And I'll shut up now. My job's done. Over to you lot.
Oh, I like this comment in the chat. 5 days, Nick. That must be some sort of record.
It was. I was dying. I saw a post last night with 2 different prices, LNPG, and I wanted to go, and I had to stop myself. And I'm very excited. I know I'm excitable. I know I'm out there, and I push. I only push to improve what LNPG members get. It's never about me. It's about fighting the battles, and sometimes I get it wrong. But one thing is, my dying breath will be LNPG. I swear to God, it will be. I can't help it. It's just the way I am. My missus, my girlfriend who sees this, she's probably watching this. She says to me, "You're gonna have a freaking heart attack on Zoom. You're gonna have a fucking heart attack, Nick." I can't help it. It's just
encouraging.
Yeah. I mean, I've got. Go on, sorry.
I was just going to say I've just seen a couple of messages from a couple of members regarding about how to get bus priced. One of them saying about decking, sheds, sleepers. What I would suggest you do is you can either email the LNPG inbox, which is lmpg@jewson.co.uk, message directly with quantities we would need to know, how, meter square coverage, an idea of what sort of style you're looking for as well. With regards to the decking, so you can either go that way or you can go to the local branch and get a quote. They will provide you with that quote, and then obviously if you had a pricing query, you can obviously flag that with us and we'll have another look at it. But either way, branch or inbox, both will do.
This is a good question here. Actually, it's just come on. Builders currently are quoting high prices because they are saying that materials costs have greatly increased, so they have to pass them on. Is this true?
In part, yes. So some supply prices have been added in. So with the contract like you've got with LNPG, it mirrors public sector contracts in that we agree a fixed term price. So we agree a price, and then for 12 months that price doesn't change. And so all supplier increases that we have in the background, we don't apply to the account. So we separate them out. And then at the end of the year, then we look at those supplier increases and we kind of ascertain whether we need to increase prices or not. And we do it in one go. And then we pass you the file and you have a look at it and we have a conversation and all that kind of stuff. So in part, what they're saying is right, but because you're protected because of the yearly fixed price, so you wouldn't necessarily see that from through an LNPG account.
Lovely. There's a couple of examples of pricing here, which we're hoping to resolve with this new process that you mentioned. But I mean, this is exactly the issue that we're trying to face here. So, for instance, we had a member today that's been in, and the drainage products are much better priced through the branch's local pricing. So, what the branch have done is log them out of the LNPG account and put them through on a separate account now. You know, in the future, with everything that you've mentioned, and I think it's fantastic to have that quote set up and ready to go. So it's a foolproof process, really.
Yeah, just to reiterate as well, just in case anybody misses it. Oh,
sorry, would drainage not fall under Wolseley? It's not. I don't think it's anything that's on the price file because
it wouldn't be. They have to go to Wolseley for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Leanne, I was going to say that at the end, but I didn't want to. I'm already getting beaten up here. Yeah, no. Well, plumbing goes to Wolseley. Yeah, that's really quite a crucial, because I don't want somebody else touching into Jewson's bag, as it were. We try to keep it locked down so everybody knows where they're going for what product. Any plumbing materials or anything, it goes to Wolseley. Any building materials goes into Jewson's. Yeah, so it keeps it really quite rigid. So I'm not upsetting Wolseley. Wolseley is tapping into, I don't know, something you're doing. So we try to keep them really separately. So I hope that answers the question.
The point that I was just going to make.
Jumped on, he's watching it as well. He said above ground drainage is Wolseley.
Is it? Okay.
Good. He agrees.
Cool.
He agrees, yeah. Thank God for that. I thought I was wrong. Oh, is Johnny watching?
Yeah, he's on the Facebook here.
Hey Johnny, and hurry up and come back, please. I'm actually doing Dave Woodward's head in.
Is Jewson? Bloody hell, I'm gone mad. Leanne, is turf on the LNPG term?
I don't actually know whether it is or not. It's something we can have a look at putting on there. I don't think we've got and a massive amount of landscaping materials on there. But if it's something that you want to be looking at, I think there's a few new ones that have been added. We've had it added 600 items day before yesterday. No, it was 1,500 items.
Yeah, I was going to say it's 1,500.
Yeah. Sorry, it was 1,500. So yeah, they've gone on, and I think that did include quite a bit of landscaping on there as well, because that was based on historic sales data from your members, and the branch's core range as well. So it should incorporate all of that. I'll have to double check on it. I think they may be, but I'm not really sure. It might be the rolly out stuff. What's it called? The artificial grass. I couldn't think of the word then. Artificial grass. I think that might be on there, but I'll have to check on the turf. I can certainly.
Leanne would be quite good.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking with you. Okay, good. Next one.
Can prices be adjusted retrospectively?
Ooh, yes, that's a big depends, because from last year, probably not. I would say would have to do that on a case by case, because the answer is yes and no. I mean, if so, where it would be yes is if you member went into a branch and it's been priced incorrectly, and then we look at it afterwards and it should be, you know, it should be a term price and they've not got a term price, then yeah, absolutely, we need to credit back and change that. If it was an item that's not on the term, that when we did put onto the term it's cheaper than what your member got, then we probably wouldn't credit that back because it's not actually on the term. So it's case by case. If you want to send one through to me, or if you've got a specific question about a member, then let me know and I can look at it.
What a good question and a great answer.
Can I just mention one thing? And that's just if a member goes into branch, can they just make sure that they quote their account number at first point of call? Because yes. I think we've had it in the past where members have gone in, they've said they're an LNPG member, and that branch may have not necessarily dealt with LNPG members before. Obviously all branches were notified, but that was 18 months ago, so if they've not had one in since then, they may look a little bit confused. But if you quote your account number, all the information is on the screen for the branch, and all your pricing is on there. So that's all they need to quote is their account number, Jewson account number.
So coming back to accounts, because we've been in lockdown, how quickly we open? Because we're having a record month this month, and we've got quite a few new members. Right? Yeah. How long are we taking accounts to open?
As far as I'm aware, the new accounts team have still got, I think they're operating on 60% staff at the moment. I don't think everybody's back in office yet, so I think there's about a 2-week delay at the moment on new accounts.
Okay, just a question: if we're not opening accounts quick enough to leave some of that pressure on the head office staff, have we got an account that we can, for the next month, 2 months, that we can tap into? Just have one account where if members need something urgently, they can use that one account.
Yes, we do have the LNPG guest account open for that reason. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we just tell every new member saying we've got to use the guest account, but because accounts get out in 2 months' time, what we would like to do is close that down. Yes.
Yeah.
Because it gets out and suddenly builders are using it, etc. So close it down, and then we'll put in a new emergency cash account number that's under lock and key. No, that would be really, really good.
No, of course, we can password protect that as well for you.
Good. Have we got some flow charts with anybody tonight?
Leanne has sent me through a Jewson order processing document. I think it's a little in depth to display on the Zoom tonight, and I'm just aware of time at the minute, but obviously
I tried to condense it as much as I can, but I wanted to make sure that all the information was there. So
it's fantastic information, it really is.
We put it on Facebook. Can we put it on our Facebook?
Yeah. It'll go on the website, it'll go on the Facebook.
This is only a temporary procedure for now. Obviously, things will get better in the next few, in the next month. So there will be a new process, but for now, if we can just stick to that, and we will deal with any pricing queries that way.
Where's the time gone? We're 7:57.
That's
Right,
Luke.
I'll see if we can get 2 more questions.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Very quick answers here. So this one, they've actually apologised for asking about it, but multi-finish again. The Jewson website says the max order is of 5. Is that strictly true in every branch?
So the answer to that is no. Sometimes in some branches it's less because their supply is so little, and in some it's more. It's a really good rule of thumb to say that it's a 5 bag max, and that's just until the supply gets back to normal. But I know, like, personally, I've dealt with a query where we managed to get much more than that for someone in the Bristol area. So
did you say Bristol? Get your bums down to Bristol.
Yeah.
They've got loads of
Bristol have been
they've done
quite
quite
good,
well.
actually. They managed to source a load of plasterboard for us as well, because there was a bit of a delay on that as well.
Yeah.
I would say if any members obviously need multi-finish at the minute, the best thing they can do is contact their local branch. They should hopefully have an order on already with British Gypsum. Unfortunately, we don't get a confirmed delivery date until a week in advance. We may not necessarily get what's on. They may have 5 pallets on order, but they'll actually only receive 1, and that 1 pallet would only have 56 bags on that they've got to distribute to their whole customers. So that's why there is a limit at the moment, just because otherwise everybody would be just getting a pallet and they wouldn't have anybody, wouldn't be able to share that between their customers. So that is the reason for it. So yeah, if you ring your branch, try and get a date and then call on the day. And they should be able to allocate you some as they come in, but they are sold on a first come first serve basis at the moment.
Most deliveries, plaster is on a Thursday to hit the weekend. Am I talking rubbish there?
I think all branch, it depends on the location of the branch. They will have different delivery days. Yeah.
That's fine.
Just final question. We've had a member that's tried to register for the Jewson website during this webinar. What postcode do they need to use when they register?
Their own, because it's their account.
So that's the one that's linked on the Lmpg website as well. Their home postcode.
However, however their membership is set up. So if they've set it up against their company or business name, it will be that postcode for that. Or if they've set it up in their own name, it will be their home address that they're registered to.
All they need to do is go into the LNPG, go inside it, yes, and my details, and it will come up with an address on that page there that will tell them what property they've registered for their own home address. Normally, it's their home address, so that will be the nearest branch to them. Yep.
Okay. Cool.
So on that note, can I just thank everybody for members coming on and listening to, and Luke. Thank you so much, and Leanne, thank you for all your hard work that I know that you've been doing over the last couple of weeks. I know I've given you a bit of
it's okay.
an argument, but it's always been to improve the service of LNPG members and what the journey that they're on. Because when something goes wrong, it's just them. It's just their property that they're trying to develop, and it gets really quite personal for them. So I do thank you for everything you've done and you are going to be doing, but also thanks for coming on here today. And just thank you. That's really all I've got to say. Paul, would you like to say anything as the operations director?
I think thank you very much for joining us tonight and being honest with our members. The one thing I'd just reiterate is that if a local branch to you tries to take you away from the LNPG account and set you up on another account, just be very careful, because it means you won't get the LNPG prices. So just a warning there to members, please. But other than that, no, it's a delight to have Luke on board to help support. Well, yes, he's supporting Leanne, because I think Leanne's been fighting a lone battle out there for the last 18 months, and I must admit she's done a wonderful job. So thanks again to both of you.
And also, I'd just like to say that we at LNPG just tell people how it is. We don't. If you've got a problem, then we try to highlight that and overcome it. Luke and Leanne, I know that we've argued, and I'm going screaming. And Luke's sitting there. It's only because we.
It's great, Nick. It's really important, and the fact that you speak to us openly and honestly, and sometimes, you know, sometimes we have a bit of a shouting match, but it's necessary, and it's the way that this is going to get better. And I've got it's absolutely the right thing. So it's all good. It's been a pleasure to join you, and I'm glad you invited me. So thanks very much.
No, it's been a pleasure. No, that's it.
Fine. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Good night, everybody. Have a great
Good
night.
night.
Thank you
Thanks,
too.
Em.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.